All right, so as it were, ask and ye shall receive. There was an open speaker slot. I saw it on the app. I went up to Roland, who put this SteemFest 3 together, and was like, dude, can I speak? I was trying to, bring the message of the state of anarchy to all these Steemians. And he was like, yeah, man, sure. I can't do his accent very well, but yeah, that's basically what he said. So yeah, in about 10 minutes, I'm gonna go on and give a speech about the state of anarchy and how it relates to like all this stuff. The speech is gonna be called Exodus, and it's about taking a complete exodus away from the mainstream system, not just by physically moving ourselves from one website to another, but a mental exodus from the mindset of the slave, the mindset of the programmed one, to the mindset of the free man, the mindset of the sovereign. So hopefully I'll be able to communicate that to the Steemians, because I feel like that's what's a little lacking. Everybody's talking about marketing and they're trying to say, hey, look, technology, money, but there's already plenty of technology and money everywhere. That's not what makes this different. What makes it unique is this sort of anarcho mindset where communities develop decentrally and empower themselves rather than centralize and empower whoever's in the middle. So hopefully it goes well.
Okay, have a ball, man.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to thank Roland for giving me this opportunity. I mean, he could have easily just been like, get out of my face, dude. But he was like, nah, sure, dude, why not? So I'm here to talk to you about my project that I'm starting, and I would like for it to evolve into something more than my project. Like, I would like to let the reins go and let it be its own thing. The title of the project is called The State of Anarchy. So to put this in perspective, the name that I came up for this presentation that I just got awarded is called Exodus. And why I titled it that, because I believe that Exodus is sort of like more than just a physical relocation. And that is what is needed for people to start really understanding why they have to switch over to cryptos and Steem and all this stuff. So what I mean by that is, yeah, sure, you can migrate to another country or another, crypto-friendly haven like Costa Rica or something. But what really needs to happen on a mass scale for the normies is a mental exodus. People, when you tell them things about like, smart media tokens and non-fungible tokens and you start using a bunch of big words, people like my mother just lose, their eyes just glaze over. Do you know what I mean? They don't understand why they should even care about these really big words. And to us, it makes no sense because we have this context where we understand the importance of this stuff. But in order to get the masses over, we have to teach them first the reason for Exodus. So when you say things like there's crypto, there's money, there's incentives, you get paid to post what you like to do, some people do that already on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, and they're really happy on those platforms. But what they don't understand is that at any moment, those platforms could turn against them. And not many of those people understand that. In fact, I would venture to say that none of them do. I spoke to a gentleman earlier who had a PayPal account, which isn't even a social media platform. He was a PayPal partner for 17 years, and then one day PayPal just shut him off. He had like I think a $20,000 line of credit. He owed $10,000, and PayPal was like, yep, we're terminating your account, and it also says in our terms and conditions that we don't have to tell you why. So this dude had to literally sell his house, relocate, and do a bunch of stuff to salvage himself solely because PayPal reserved the right to essentially screw him over at any point in time. And that is what I mean by mental exodus. No one in the normie world understands this. They think Facebook works well for them. They think Instagram, it's cool, it works well for them. But in order to really so they're not going to switch to platforms like Steem if they're happy and happily married to mainstream apps. So what I venture to do with the State of Anarchy is to teach people the stuff that they don't get told about the control systems in these like technocrat apps that are really set up to honestly program them. Like, it's literal mind control. Like, if you look at Facebook's new algorithms, they're not showing you your favorite Facebook pages that you like. They're not showing you anything but your immediate friend circle. And basically they want to keep you in the same digital pond as you are in the physical pond. And that is terrifying, and nobody understands it. I mean, they're seeing their cousins posting, Donald Trump MAGA hat stuff, you know what I mean? Or they're just all hurrah, hurrah. And nobody understands that, like, this is all part of how the technocrats are controlling both our minds and our actions through limiting us financially and with laws and stuff. So what the State of Anarchy is this initiative to explain to people the concept of anarchy and clear up all of the crap that gets like lumped into that. So who here has the idea of anarchy as like guys that look like me with mohawks and Molotov cocktails, like breaking a bunch of glass and it's like covering the city in blood? Anybody? Yeah, okay, few people. So, I mean, there were guys like that in like the 90s or whatever, and whatever, that's their thing. But what it actually means from an etymological perspective, the word an comes from Greek, which means without or having nothing to do with, and archon, meaning rulers. So all it actually means is no rulers, which, I mean, to me sounds pretty reasonable. But if you look it up in the dictionary, that's not what it says. It says chaos, which, you know, and then that, if you say something like, hi, I'm an anarchist, they're like, oh, so you're an agent of chaos, get away from me. You know what I mean? So this is all part of the mental exodus that we're trying to instill, which is why we titled it Anarchy, because we want to be upfront with people. We want to show people that, like, hey, look, we're going to be blunt and direct with you guys because, frankly, we don't have that much time left. People have to start waking up to what's really happening to them in order for them to understand why all this crypto stuff matters. People have debit cards, they have PayPal. They're like, what? Everything's fine. What are you talking about? But if you tell them things like bank accounts are freezing people for spending in crypto, like me personally, I took out a credit card to start investing in crypto like a year ago. And I was using the credit card, you know, buying the dips, selling high, and it was really like, it was working out for me. I mean, it was a very easy, I didn't have to invest any capital and I was making money. And then one day, Bank of America just emailed me and were like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. And I was like, what? And they literally didn't have an explanation, and that was the end of that. And I had to go back to finding other ways to invest in crypto. So naturally, I maxed out that credit card and, you know, told them to go, you know, suck it. I'm not paying that at all. I see that as a breach of contract. But what we're trying to do with the state of anarchy is not just in the financial realm, but in the realm of government, in the realm of media, because what a lot of people don't realize is, like, yeah, we go to government schools and get this government programming and stuff, but the programming continues on when you turn on your television. My dad always makes this joke like, commercials don't work. I never buy any of this stuff. And little does he know, the commercial is doing exactly what its desired outcome is. It's creating this like mental, you see all these people, they're happy, they're going to the store, they're buying like toothpaste with fluoride in it, or like, you know, some like ridiculously processed food. And basically the commercials and the TV and the sports and the rah, 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 it's all meant to perpetuate this mental sort of like zeitgeist or ethos that, like, at least in America, is like the status quo. So what we're trying to do through Steem is basically create a community of like-minded individuals who understand all this stuff, who understand the control mechanisms, who understand the manipulation, who understand the subtle ways that we are being moved mentally and physically into areas where we are more easily to be controlled. And Steem is the perfect platform for that. And it's kind of a funny story about how I figured that all out. I was trying to do everything on every platform because the way I see it, part of the exodus was taking people from Facebook and Instagram and pulling them to Steem it through links and, you know, stuff like that. But turns out they're really good at censoring that too. We posted a video on police brutality in Philadelphia. There were like these protests for the ICE camps or whatever, and the Philadelphia police force, which looked like a standing army. It was horrifying. If you watch the video, they literally just swarmed in and destroyed these camps. It was crazy. So when I went to post that on Facebook, it got no engagement because Facebook makes you pay to get engagement. So I go to pay to boost the post, and I get hit with this warning that's like, you are not authorized to post or to advertise on issues relating to politics or national importance. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. There's like an AI out there that filters what people are paying to promote and basically tells them that they can't. So there's like a verification process, and I was a little desperate, so I checked into it, and it scared me even more. I had to give up my name, my social security number. You had to give up your address, and they were gonna mail you like a letter with like a QR code on it or something to prove that you live there, which to me is just like, I mean, that's database, do you know what I mean? You're in a database as some guy who likes to, you know, talk about national issues, and if anything ever hits the fan in America, which, you know, could be before the end of this decade, you're on the list. So needless to say, that was my end with Facebook as far as promoting this project, and I devoted all of the energy to Steem because I see Steem as the exact antithesis of that. Steem is completely censorship resistant, which was the most enticing thing for me. The fact that I could say whatever I want about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or whoever it were, and that none of their maniacal AI forces could stop Steem it from encoding it in the blockchain for eternity. It's written in stone. Code is law. And that was really enticing to me. And then when I started understanding about how upvotes work and how delegations can happen and how you can actually help people who are new to the platform and give them like a kickstart and, you know, get them going, I was like, dude, this could be it. This could be how we could like take all these black flag anarchists, rip them out of their mother's basements, finance them, and get these messages out so that we can create that mental exodus. And once we do that to the normies, then they're like, oh, I get it now. I'm not going to be censored. I'm going to be empowered instead of like tracked and like logged into some like marketing database. And I'm going to be able to actually, you know, benefit from this. Not just myself, but my family and my communities. So essentially what the State of Anarchy is, right now it's one account, but it's sort of like an aggregate account. We do a lot of re-steams. We re-steam all sorts of like anarcho-spiritualist people. Like, I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with the conference in Acapulco. Anybody here? Nice, couple hands. I know Luke was in here earlier. He was there last year. Jeff Berwick's one of the guys that we re-steam a lot. We find ourselves agreeing with him on almost everything he posts. And the idea is through re-steaming, through coordinated like efforts, and through coordinated upvoting, we can like tell these anarchists, hey, look, we can get you a platform where not only can you promote this message and spread it and wake people up to the control systems that they're being subjugated to, but you can empower yourself financially so that you're not a victim of them as well. Because let's face it, that's how they control us, through central banking. And that's how they control everything. It's centralized monetary funds. I mean, Roland was making a satire of it who was at the bowling event last night? Yeah, Roland was like, the drink tickets. He was like, we have drink tickets and we can print them at our leisure and they're infinite. And I mean, that's what they do. They're just like, we have these dollars and they got a bunch of dead presidents on them and we can just print them over and over again and just, pay people to do whatever we want them to do. And we here at the State of Anarchy, we don't like that mentality. We like the mentality of, fairness, like integrity and support for, real communities and real, just real shit. Sorry for cursing. But, so yeah, basically that's what we're doing here. We all have personal accounts and stuff, and I do like artistic stuff on my personal account, but my passion is definitely the State of Anarchy. I want to see a lot of people wake up to not just how they're being controlled, but the things that are being hidden from them. I find that that's even more important. How many in this room would consider themselves somewhat spiritual? Not religious, spiritual. Good. Got a couple spirit nerds here, my spirit fam. Like to see that. So yeah, I mean, but if you poll people in places like the United States or very sort of logical places, I mean, the narrative that is pushed is atheism. I mean, atheism is the religion of the control system. And I was an atheist for 10 years. My mom used to cry every night, you don't worship Jesus, you're gonna burn in hell forever. I'm like, Mom, it's fine, it's not real, none of it's real. But then I realized that all of those religious stories point back to a deeper spiritual truth. And I found that when I aligned myself to that truth, that magic would happen. It was almost like you reach this sort of coherence with the vibrations of the universe, and that coherence resonates and pulls in powerful energies and powerful events. I mean, even this conference is one of those things, in my opinion. I was pulled here just as magically as anyone else. I met my film guy, Pat, over there at Anarchy. We literally, we had that stupid Osmo thing. We were walking around and we both had it. We were filming each other. And then it turned out that we had a lot of similar interests. We both have tattoos about DMT on our arms, which is pretty clutch. And then lo and behold, he hit me up a couple months later and was like, dude, I like the State of Anarchy. I want to get involved with what you're doing. He lived in upstate New York. I lived in Philadelphia. I was like, dude, I got a spare room. Come live in my house. Move in with me. He was like, do you have cats? I'm like, yeah. He was like, I'm allergic. I'm like, you can do it, man. So he put up my cat and all its dander and all of its, hijinks, is peeing on everything, because this meant something to him. It was real. It was like doing something that isn't just doing it for the sake of money or doing it just for the sake of something to do. I mean, how many people here have gotten into that cycle of just constantly occupying yourself, because what would you do if you just sat there for 15 minutes? All those feelings start creeping up and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't know how to just be. And that, I think, is the ultimate thing that the control system hides from us. So this is all sorts of things that I would love to start, getting more on people's awareness as far as when it comes to crypto. Because a lot of people have that money awareness. And money is important. Money is just energy, currency, a current of energy. And that's what's nice, is because when you have rivers flowing freely, they're beautiful. But when you have I liken the central banking system to the Philadelphia Water Department. It's this grotesque, industrialized pond of fluoridated water, and it's just a cesspool, essentially. So what we aim to do is empower any and all anarchists, or even if you're not an anarchist, just people who have woken up a little bit to how they're being manipulated, whether it's mentally, spiritually, or physically, and to give those people power, energy, currency to promote that message further and create a virtuous cycle of just, those people start helping other people, the upvotes start curating up and up. And then if the majority of Steemians were a bunch of woke meditators who were levitating on tops of mountains and stuff, that'd be pretty sweet. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the dream for me, at least. So yeah, I mean, if anybody's curious, if anybody has similar pages, that it doesn't even have to be about anarchy. It just could be about any type of truth that empowered you. That's what I believe it all is at the end of the day. Truth is knowledge, knowledge is power. So if you understand the truth and you can communicate it to any degree, we will support you 100%. And we would love to team up with you. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate everything. I'll see you around.
Thank you. I'll let you figure out.
Thanks, Roland.